Hey, hey, hey! Hi, everybody. Welcome to my Friday morning show. Wow, today is May 1st. I'm so excited. Spring is really here. Can you believe it? Well, it is Friday. So settle in and stick around because today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, gremlins. And you're going to want to grab that piece of paper and a pen because I'm going to be sharing some really great tips with you at the end. So before we get started, though, I'm Mary Marino, an accredited life coach and a transformation expert. So, my mission is to support women in the throes of change, get out of their fears, discover those new opportunities, and create that inspired plan of action to live a more authentic life. And you can read more about me and access all my videos on my website, marymarinocoaching.com. This is episode number 27, Gremlins. So, what is a gremlin? According to the dictionary, it's a mischievous invisible being. A gremlin can also be explained as a mechanical glitch. For example, a loose wire was the gremlin that blew out all the lights. So in coaching, gremlin has its own meaning. It's that thought, that inner voice. You know what I'm talking about. We all have a gremlin, and it's that whisper we hear that one way or another tells you you're not good enough. Gremlins are by far the most powerful of the four internal blocks we all have. They hold us back. So in addition to the gremlin, there are three other blocks: assumptions, interpretations, and limiting beliefs. And I'll be discussing those in the upcoming episodes. But let me tell you what happened to me last weekend. So, I usually take the weekends off from work, but about 3 o'clock this last Saturday, I got a little antsy to try new software. So I sat down at my computer and I promised myself and my husband it would only take about 30 minutes to do what I had to do. Fast forward 3 hours later, now it's 6 p.m., and I'm still hunched over at my computer, frustrated with my anxiety level reaching near nuclear meltdown. I can't for the life of me figure out this stupid friendly software. Near tears, all I could hear was my gremlin in my head whispering, "You're not smart enough to figure this out, sweetheart." Now, my day off, which started out so great, had spiraled out of control, and just like that, I was being pulled down the rabbit hole. I sat there wondering how a seemingly follow these simple steps could completely derail me. Has this ever happened to you? Can you relate to this sort of scenario when you thought something was going to be done quickly and smoothly, but becomes entangled and user-friendly and turns out to be anything but? Well, my frustrations may have been triggered by the user-friendly software, but that trip down the rabbit hole, well, that was compliments of my gremlin. So let me explain. So my gremlin's message, which by the way is rooted from my childhood, and you know what, so is yours more than likely, it's you're not smart enough. And since it's been with me for such a long time, it's become a part of me like an appendage. And it's so easy for me to believe now that I am not smart enough rather than to admit that I just do not know how. And when I start to think this way, it's really hard for me to ask for help. So this said, depending upon how important it is, I do one of two things. Either I believe my gremlin and I don't try, or I set out to prove my gremlin wrong and become focused on figuring it out. Now, this may sound like a good thing, right? But my focus is really born out of fear. And it's the fear that if I lose focus, I may not be able to figure it out and thus prove my gremlin right. So my focus turns into an obsession. And so much so that I completely forget about everything and everyone, including myself, just like I did last Saturday night. So granted, it's been a while since I let my gremlin out, but the process was so familiar to me, I didn't even realize it was happening. And once I reflected on it the next morning, I recognized that old familiar pattern. You see, this little Saturday night scenario had played out over and over in my life. And when I believed my gremlin's message of not being smart enough, I conveniently told myself, well, I'm really not interested in pursuing those things anyway, when actually I was. So choosing instead to obsess about the things that I thought I had to figure out by myself, usually from my professional life, caused me to completely neglect myself and to dismiss the things I did want. So not surprisingly, I became more and more successful at work, proving to my gremlin that I was indeed smart enough, but the lesson came at a huge price. I was completely unfulfilled and exhausted. So do you see how this can easily become a vicious cycle and is sadly a way of life? Gremlins stagnate us, and they prevent us from trying, even if we want to. Fueled by our fears, these powerful gremlins stunt our growth and rob us of our happiness. So, Coach, how do you break free of the gremlin cycle? Well, I'm so glad you asked because I have 4 steps for you. So, number 1, identify your gremlin. Take a step back and really listen to that voice inside you. If it is speaking to your limitations and not your strengths, then that's your gremlin. Number 2, hear what the gremlin is saying. For me, I'm not smart enough is the recurring message, but yours may be different. Understanding your message will help you identify the triggers that prompt your gremlin to show up. And with this awareness, you can be more prepared for his arrival. Now that you know what your gremlin is telling you, and decide on what you're going to say when he does show up. For example, I tell my gremlin, hey, thanks so much for being here. I am very smart though, so please go sit in the back seat because I got this. So tip number 3, acknowledge your gremlin. Move it aside and get it out of the way. You know, this is a really powerful tool. So I want you to practice it and say your message out loud because it really does work. And number 4, take action on whatever it is you want to do. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge step, just do something. And when you do, make sure to celebrate your victory. So I want you to think about all the things on your list that you wanted to do but haven't done yet. And I want you to ask yourself, what's holding you back? Is it because you've been listening to your gremlin's advice? So you may have to sit with that question for a bit. Remember, gremlins like to hide behind excuses. So make sure you pull back the curtain and look under the bed. So you know what? My Live, Lead, Learn 90-day transformation program is chock full of exercises, techniques, and tools just like this. I've specifically designed it to support you on your transition journey. So if you're interested in taking a closer look, then all you need to do is message me here or simply go over to my contact page on my website, MaryMarinoCoaching.com, fill out the form, and from there, I'll be in touch. And you know what? When you're there, check out my ebook, How to Manage Change and Navigate Transitions in Life, the 5 Essentials to Finding the New You. It's right there on my homepage. And you know what? You can download it for free when you enter your email and become part of my email community. So I want to thank you all for dropping by today. If you like what you've heard, please share it with your friends and family. And until next time, live with intention, lead with integrity, and learn with inspiration. Bye-bye now. Have a great weekend.